Hi, everyone. I don't have any slides for you. This is more of like an impromptu talk about decentralized coordination. Oftentimes people use words like governance, DAOs, things like that. It's not going to be, a talk ragging on that topic in entirety. It's somewhat fashionable to be ragging on majority vote systems and things like that. I'll spend a couple minutes on it, but the main focus is on maybe an alternate construction of what that could look like. A quick overview, governance with majority vote or delegated majority vote tends towards exploitation with majority, tyranny of the majority. In traditional systems, this is usually resolved with a judicial system, not easily resolved in a permissionless setting. In a permissionless setting, if you have any type of adjudication, oftentimes that can get exploited in various ways. When you think about it, what these systems are trying to solve is fundamentally a shift in leadership or some sort of mandate or in the protocol itself, especially in this space. Fundamentally, that's about firing someone, right? Or just getting rid of a group of people, or these groups of people disagree, or changing the social contract, so to speak. The dialectic in this space oftentimes is between having a BDFL, a king, or whomever, right, or a group of people in control, or some type of majority vote DAO construct. In crypto, there's oftentimes this third alternative of permanence, of a lack of change. But let's say you do want to do development. Let's say you do want some type of delta or some type of change. What does that look like, right? And that looks like essentially having some type of leadership role, a king, that type of dynamic. Traditionally we call these BDFLs. The problem with this type of construct is that there is no formal process to get rid of these people. It's very different than democracies where you can vote the guy out. Crypto projects, especially ones that have tokens, don't have a formal mechanism for this, beyond this majority vote construct. Traditionally, corporations, there's a CEO, the board can get rid of them. If the board doesn't get rid of them after a quarter, the shareholders can elect a new board. Ultimately, the responsibility is borne on the shareholders. It's not like the shareholders can say, oh, the CEO screwed up. You can say that for about 3 months. You can't say that after 3 months. It's your fault. It's you as the shareholder's fault. Or maybe you can blame the majority, but it's fundamentally, after 3 months, not the CEO's fault. It's the responsibility, ultimately, of the people who have control over the asset. And the culture in crypto, and especially when it comes to token culture, is that whereby we are sort of reliant upon a set of people to maintain a protocol and to act in sort of accordance of the general will, right? What's the problem with this construct? Now, you can't get rid of them. Generally, you're not going to find, as a ratio of people that want to act in a pro-social way, because for the simple reason that it's kind of a pain in the ass. It's very, very challenging to be in an environment where you're beholden to someone and you can't get fired, and these people may ultimately disagree on what they want, right? You have a set of people that want one thing, another set of token holders that want another thing. So essentially, when it comes to leadership of this BDFL construct, you generally have antisocial people, which there are a lot of, or you have somewhat delusional people, or you have narcissists. This is how it works in politics, right? And honestly, your best bet is generally narcissists. It's not ideal, but that's the situation we have, right? When you have, so as a result, you then say, okay, in the past 3 years, we've gone into this DAO construct. The issue with this is a traditional issue of, a lack of a judiciary. You have this construct of, you need this check against majority control. So that's where we are today. The presumption of this dialectic is that you all need to come to agreement, and we all are on this ship together. It's sort of, okay, you have 51% of the pie, you'll go with their way. And on the internet, especially with blockchain and cryptocurrencies, that's not your only alternative. And historically, that has not been how we resolve conflict, right? Existential conflict oftentimes. Historically, it's not about divvying up the pie. Historically, it's about getting two pies. When there's a form of disagreement, you just go on your merry way and then you do a hard fork, right? Look at what happened with BTC, BCH, right? Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. Ultimately, there was a fundamental disagreement. You need to go on your own way. Ethereum Classic, right? Same thing. Fundamental community disagreement, and you go on your very own way, right? Like, it's not like we all need to come to agreement. It's because we're dealing in virtuality that we don't need to, and we can sort of create a parallel universe. And that's very, very different than, a 51% construct. You have your tokens duplicated, you have your whole world duplicated, you have a community, you have separate systems. There's some challenges with this, though. Overcoming coordination costs for this is very, very, very high, which is why you only see it occur in environments where it's highly, highly contentious. When these communities fundamentally cannot disagree and, may the best group win, or maybe, it tends to persist, right? So how do you build a system in the viewpoint where, the solution in this space, the natural solution is multiple pies? Well, you kind of don't want it to be easy, right? You don't want, it to happen willy-nilly, but you also don't want it to be impossible. Because if it's impossible, you have a stagnant community, you have an, inflexible mandate, and if the protocol or leadership or what have you becomes too difficult to change, then, then it's impossible. Now, this problem's not relevant for projects that don't ever need to change. But when there is a need to change, how do you get that state change from you have a group of people that are in state A, and let's say 99% or even a full consensus wants to get into this new state. Let's say it's a protocol change, community change, mandate change. How do you really get there? It's not a trivial problem to solve. And in order to make this work, it needs to be possible to be done, right? Like there are constructs in this space where they have licenses, like the certain BSDL, like there's licenses that prevent forking. And is that an autonomous organization? Is that an autonomous group? Is that an autonomous chain? Possibly not, right? Because it is this ability that gives you the agency for two groups of people to ultimately disagree and to sort of have a framework for them to resolve that without this 51% difficulty. So what does a possible solution look like? If we have a system with forks, why not have some type of social agreement on that? When it comes to decentralized coordination, there's a general, there's a riddle called the blue eyes problem. And the blue eyes problem, you can look it up, but fundamentally it's about you have a group of people that want to get off an island. How do you get off the island? You all need to sort of come to some sort of consensus on that. And if you all come to consensus on that, you all can get off the island, right? That's ultimately like the core nut of that problem. And the scientific word for that is the collective action problem. And the area of research, and that's sort of what we're looking at here. So when you have this collective action problem, you're usually dealing with a problem related to information theory, information disclosure. And presume you do want to upgrade. You do want to do this protocol change. You do want to change this mandate. It's ideal for you to socially telegraph that, right? And you see these signaling mechanisms as part of these upgrade systems. But what if we really took it a step further, right? Like we have these, okay, I will want to upgrade. I have these UASF, I have these, flagging or what have you of these blocks or my account or my address or whatever, right? What you really care about, or what I care about in terms of protocol changes, is I only want to do it if all my friends do it. Because I don't want to be stuck alone, right? Like if we're going off into a different environment, I only really actually care if like we all do this together. And if that's the constraint, and we publicly telegraph that, why not publicly telegraph who the people I care about are and my conditions for this state change? So an example of this would be, I will participate in this change conditional upon a list of, here are the 20 people I follow, here are the 20 people, my friends, people I respect, whatever it may be, and provided that 90% of them flag that they will also do this, then I am willing to do this upgrade. And I publish this to the world. Now what I'm doing here is I'm publishing my conditions for an upgrade, conditional upon other people's conditions for an upgrade, who also have these set of conditions, right? So I say, okay, I will only upgrade if 90% of my friends upgrade. And my friend, one of those friends, say they will only upgrade conditional upon if 90% of them upgrade. Now, if you notice, I'm not committing to upgrading. I'm committing to a condition by which I am okay with upgrading. And if I publish this set of information, and if this information is publicly inspectable and computable, what you can do is you can inspect on the entire social graph. And it sort of doesn't matter if this graph is sibled or anything like that, because my conditions for upgrade is only contingent upon these, let's say, 20 people I care about. And those people only upgrade upon the set of people that they care about. So in the event of a Sybil attack, it's sort of like, who really cares, right? Because I only care about the people that affect me, people I trade with, people I respect, protocol developers, whatever it may be. It's this construct of this is what affects me, and if they make the state change, then I will make the state change as well. This construct, I believe, is massively different than traditional majority vote or BDFL. This is a social graph construct upon how to make protocol changes in decentralized projects where there needs to be some degree of consensus. I mean, this is not a panacea, right? There's a lot of things to think about with this. There's like how do you resolve certain problems with regards to power accumulation, like cabals and things like that. But it's a different way to look at the world when it comes to protocol updates, whereby it is publicly telegraphed information that is globally inspectable. Conditions are local, though. You only care about 1 degree away, but because it is recursive, ultimately, your action will only occur if a significant proportion of the network is willing to upgrade. So, in summary, like hard forks really get you there when it comes to, social coordination on state changes. They're pretty nice in the sense that if you like the old state, you can keep using it. And when you want the new state, you don't require permission from the people that don't want to upgrade. And this mental shift is essentially what I think this community needs to talk about more when it comes to, when people are talking about DAOs and governance and things of that nature. And I think it's also an interesting construct when it comes to incentivization. Like look at a world where some individual, let's say, makes a proposal saying, hey, here are some changes that we need to do. You know, part of this proposal is some slight inflation. You know, some slight token issuance to the entire network state, to the entire set of this social graph that in their interpretation is not a Sybil. In their interpretation is not a group of people that are, you know, making 1,000 accounts. And if it looks good enough to most people, you know, if they participate in an upgrade, they can participate in some of this inflation. And it creates this like iterative game whereby changes can occur. It encourages participation. You know, people that tend to help out the protocol more probably are more likely to get more under this construct, right? And it creates a system whereby, you know, everyone can do this upgrade without, you know, a BDFL or some kind of majority vote. And that's it.